Yes, guys, hope you're well. I thought this was due another video today. I was in JD about a week ago, and someone came up to me and was like, "Excuse me, do you know anyone who does like a lot of like nutrition, especially for men?" I thought, is this a wind up? Yeah, me, right? So that is where I'm going today. We are going to the Northeast Young Dads and Lads Club. I've got a business card here. I'm taking out his details, so we can't see his details on the internet. That is where I'm going. I'm looking forward to it. I have a talk upon nutrition. They've got a few. They asked me for like food ideas and suggestions so that they could take and make it a little bit more interactive, which is really cool. But I've done a few of these talks before, so I am very much looking forward to it. It's very similar to one that I did at my old job last year with a few different slides. So I'm looking forward to getting into it. NE97TU. What are we looking at? 12 minutes. I like doing these talks, to be fair. I've probably done 2 nutrition ones. They were a couple of years apart, and then I did one in front of a room of coaches based on how to create a world-class transformation. So, you know what? Because the place I'm going to, Northeast Young Dads and Lads Club, it's not necessarily people who are into fitness. So this is probably my first talk, my first experience of doing like some sort of educational, informative talk in front of people who maybe aren't quite fazed by it. So hopefully I can keep it as interesting as possible. As I said, I've already forgotten a couple of things. I wanted to bring some creatine monohydrate, something like with like a bland packaging to it. I might have something in my bag, maybe like some ABE or something like that. But I'm going to talk a little bit more later on about like a milkshake study and how we like perceive food, which I think could be really interesting for anyone who's in or out of fitness, and then we can start to see how we start looking at things based on that. And whereas the last video was based in Malaga, that was on the run, this one should give you a little bit more information. If you take anything away from it, I would love to know. So I am here at the Chowdene, what a name, Chowdene Family Hub, and I am the only one here. There's no one else here right now. I did say I was going to be a little bit early. I'm hoping I've got the right place. Someone's here now. Oh, let's go. This isn't rehearsed at all, by the way, today. So if I go on like any tangents or anything.
I'm wanting to do like, because we go caravanning quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I want to do like, because I've got twin girls, doing something like that, but I just don't have the confidence to start. I've got all the kit now.
Yeah.
I just don't have the like, I don't know, I really want to. We're going to Amsterdam at the weekend on the ferry. So I think I might start with them.
Do it then. That would be cool. I think it's always a case of like with the confidence of doing something like that, it's like feeling comfortable enough to talk to the camera and stuff.
That's it, yeah.
Sometimes it's so uncomfortable. Even when I'm doing it at times, I'm like, oh, I'm putting my phone away here. Like people are gonna think I'm an absolute idiot or a weirdo. I was gonna go to a Machine Gun Kelly gig where I did go, and I was like, I'm gonna vlog it. And I got there and I just left it in the car. I was like, I'm not bringing that in. I'll go straight on to this. So my name's Brett, dad of 2 girls. I have been in the fitness industry for 14 years now. I've worked in commercial gyms, I've worked abroad in Egypt and Australia. I've worked in small box gyms, and now I'm working, so Johnny came in to JD, he was like, do you know anyone who works with guys and does like nutrition work? I was like, me? I'm funnily enough the guy that you want to speak to about that. So I actually coach specifically in male only small group PT at the moment. So I've worked in previous gyms where it's been guys only, and the aim is to have that almost like sense of brotherhood about it, and that community element, which is, I imagine, what you guys have. Now, if anyone has like any questions, just literally shout them out. I'm going to try and make it as interactive as possible as well, just so you're not that sat there bored thinking, what's this guy on about? But in terms of habits, like what is a habit? It's a behaviour of autonomy. So what we do on autopilot when we're not necessarily thinking. Has anyone read the book Atomic Habits?
Atomic Habits,
Yeah, great. So that's a really important book in terms of it talks about how we change things. And when it comes to that habit, it's not just about dropping something. You know, if someone says, all right, you want to stop having a pizza on a weekend, sometimes it's like, well, I don't just want to stop having a pizza. I want to change that with something else. So he talks about when you're in a car, there was like a taxi driver, and he used to smoke every time he got in the car, because it would be like in that little bit by the gear stick. So every time he got in, he'd take a cigarette, he'd light it up, and that was just his habit, that was his routine, that was his autopilot. So he couldn't just get rid of it because he'd be going in and he'd feel frustrated. So he actually changed it with some like sugar-free chewing gum, and that became his habit of getting in the car and having something that was a little bit more healthy to him, prospectively, rather than smoking. Now, our workout's only going to account for like this much. A lot of people think that when it comes to, they might do like a spinning class or a hard workout class or something like that, and they'll look at the watch and they'll say, right, well, I've burnt like 800 calories. You've probably burnt about 50, maybe 100. So then if you've ever heard anyone, you might have done it yourself, where you've done a hard session, you're like, oh, I've earned that pizza, or I've earned that cookie, or whatever it may be. A lot of the time you're actually eating those calories back, or you're doing more damage, because, as I said, you haven't worked out. It's not that you haven't worked out as hard as you wanted to, but it's that you haven't burnt as many calories as you thought. Now, when it comes to nutrition, like some big ones that I think about are these ones, which are going to help create that habit for us. So a large one is like portion control and hand sizes, and that sounds like very almost woo-woo in a way, but I've had people who've like worked offshore, been on holiday and that sort of thing, and still helped them get results. Because if we want to think about like our protein, now, does anyone, when it comes to protein, can anyone name any proteins that they know other than the protein shake? Chicken, mint.
Fish, beans.
Yep, all stuff like that. So if we want to think about like a protein, like what? Who said what was that? What's a carb?
Potatoes.
Potatoes are carb. Potatoes are carb.
Yeah.
So if we think of like protein, and we've got like a chicken breast, right? If we put like 2 fists together, like that's probably going to be like 1 chicken breast. We want to think about like 2 fists worth of protein per meal. So then if you're now looking at the foods that you have, say you're having 3 meals a day, if you're looking at that and thinking, am I having like 2 fists worth of protein per meal? The likelihood is we're probably not. Even if we went to Asda and we got like a sandwich or something, say it's like a chicken salad sandwich, there's probably going to be not a lot of protein in that, right? So we want to start thinking about like hand portions when it comes to that, to help us build a little bit more muscle, and also protein is going to help us feel fuller for longer, and that's going to stop us then snacking later on in the day, and that's going to stop us feeling a little bit more lethargic and having that crash. I mean, me myself, I talk about it here, I'm going to talk about it at the end as well. Like, don't fall for the perfect fitness industry spiel. Like, I'm not perfect, and I love sweets, and I love cookies, and I love pizza and stuff like that. But it's then trying to find almost like the right times to have it.
Balance, isn't it?
What's that?
Trying to find the balance.
Trying to find a balance, 100%.
Like sweets and that, you can have sweets and stuff. You just got to balance it out.
100%. You'll have had your weight cuts and stuff.
I've got to not eat, and then I've got to eat, and then it's all about. It's a headache, to be quite honest.
It can be. That's why people employ me to help them do it. Almost missed my mouth there. But when it, like, yeah, sweets. Like, I had some Roundtree's watermelon lollies yesterday, and I had the full pack, and I was like, fucking hell, there was less than I thought. And I just went through them really, really quick. Or Percy Pigs. I love Percy Pigs. Every time, I'll talk about this later as well, but every time we go down to the lakes, that's where I'm from, my mum buys me, she must think I'm still a kid, she buys me a pack of Percy Pigs, and I can't not eat them. But then I need to figure that into my lifestyle, into my diet, into what I'm doing. Sometimes I might be like, right, I'll have 3 or 4. The likelihood is I probably won't be able to manage having 3 or 4, and I'll eat the full pack. And my partner turns to me and she's like, did you not offer me one? And I'm like, I didn't know that I'd gone through them that quick. But portion control, mindful eating and awareness. So right there, I had no awareness that I had gone through the sweets that quick. When it comes to like awareness and mindful eating, I have worked with so many lads that get a lot of heartburn when they're eating because they're often eating on the go, or they've got the kids at home and they're coming over going, try, and it's like, no, you're trying to eat it as quick as you can sort of thing. Trying to slow your food down or trying to slow eating times down will help massively. Choosing our indulgences, this is a big one. I find this helps so much when it comes to, when you're thinking these, when it comes to eating out. So a lot of my lads do go out to eat and that sort of thing, absolutely sound. Yeah, will we try put a plan in place? Yeah, of course we will. We'll try think, right, with protein here, maybe don't go for the carbonara because that's just loads of carbs. Let's maybe try get a little bit of protein in there, whatever it may be. But if you're gonna go out, we've got drinks, we've got our starter, main, dessert, right? You've got 4 things, choose 2 of them. Don't have all 4. Because then you're gonna start to feel uncomfortable, you're gonna start to feel lethargic. And oftentimes, you'll walk out feeling bloated and you're like, oh God, I'm in a food coma here. And then you'll probably end up doing nothing throughout the rest of the day, which as a coach kills me. I'm like, could you get movement in earlier? And creating new default behaviours, like if we're following stuff like this, that will help us make better decisions going forward. Now, for everyone's structure based around their routine, like put your hand up if you have breakfast here. One. Is it one person? Sometimes. What do you have? Weetabix. Johnny, what do you have?
So I've kind of changed at the minute. So I'm doing like a fitness plan at the minute. So I was having bran flakes, but it tastes like wet cardboard. So I'm sticking with. So I've just changed to yogurt, Greek yogurt with honey.
Right.
And a handful of granola.
Mint. Cool.
And some banana.
Decent night, yeah. Bran flakes are absolutely hideous. Minging. I would never recommend anyone have bran flakes at all. Okay. For what time does everyone start getting hungry? I'm interested to know, like throughout the morning or throughout the afternoon.
About 12.
12. And when you then technically break that fast at like lunchtime or whatever, do you find it has to be like a really big meal, or do you have like something smaller and you're still hungry after that?
I just have something small and then I just get hungry. Like
Still starving. So then, what does your evening meal look like?
I mean, it depends, to be honest.
Yeah. Because I find for me, if I'm to leave it, I'm going to have something small. If I then like go to work and I've got like 5-6 hours for the rest of the day at work, I get home and I'm absolutely starving. I am always that close to getting like a Domino's or something. Do you know what I mean? I used to work at a place and I could either go over the roundabout and I could go straight ahead home, or I could turn right and I could go to McDonald's. And a lot of time I'd be driving and I'd have no idea which direction I was going until I either did or I didn't put my indicator on. But that's how easy it can be. Like if we've got food that we're not necessarily looking forward to, or we're always constantly starving, again, if like protein's quite low for us and we're not feeling satiated and we're always feeling hungry, then we are more likely to go to the easier option. And if, for example, we know that Friday night we're going home, we're going to relax, like sometimes that Friday night becomes like that pizza night, and that becomes that habit that we've spoken about. We've got the tracking there as well. Like when it comes to tracking, like we don't always need to track. Like as I said, we've got like hand portions there and things. But with the foods, like I can't even remember if I asked there, like what sort of foods is everyone having for lunch?
Like ready meals, like from the supermarkets, like sandwiches, crisps.
Yeah.
Pop.
So we mentioned that before, like with the pop, like the diet sodas. Listen, I have a Monster pretty much every day. Like I'm not going to try and demonize something like a diet soda. I think they'll help a lot of people stay on track with that sweet tooth element as well. But I personally think the most people talk about optimizing things all the time and make sure that everything's perfect. But what's optimization without actually being practical? Like we can be practical with these ready meals and have them. We were speaking before about like your different meal prep companies like Simmer and stuff like that you always see online and always have offers. Like they're absolutely sound if you're in a place where some people are on the road all the time. We've got stuff like this here. So the beef jerky that I asked us to bring in. Like some people love it, some people, wait, it's not, hey? It's good, this one. Yeah, hey, you got some good ones there. Stuff like that, it's what's practical. Like I tell a lot of my lads to keep a couple of packs of them in the car. Try to keep a couple of protein bars in the sweet and the hot one. Say for example you had like your lunch and it had loads and loads of protein in there. If I'm like 170 pounds, I'm going to try and aim for 150 to 170 grams a day. You break that down over 4 meals, you're probably looking at 40 to 45 grams of protein a meal. One chicken breast is probably about 40 grams of protein. So then if you had, say, 2 and then the beans and the peas or whatever in it, you're probably having like a good 90 grams in there, which over the day is fantastic. But then you've got to bring it into context in terms of what is happening during the day. Like if you have it during lunch, but then you're not going to eat until 9 o'clock at night, when you get back at 9 o'clock at night, have you got something ready? And it doesn't have to be prepped. I think actually prepping food sometimes can be quite monotonous and boring, especially when you get to like the 4th day of eating it and you're like, fucking this again. Didn't even like it on the first day. It's day 4 now. If you've got something ready that you enjoy, great. Otherwise, again, it depends on what that habit may look like for you, because you might then go home and think, I'm starving. I had a really good meal at lunch, but I've not eaten since then. I'm starving. I'm going to get that Mackey's. And then you wake up in the morning, you just feel, you feel horrible, don't you? So even when it comes to yourself, it might even be your kids as well, depending on their age at the moment. But we want to look at that perception of food. So some people have that social eating, comfort eating. I know, like, I'm going to sit at home and watch Married at First Sight, and I'm just probably going to tuck into sort of a bag of sweets, you know what I mean? Don't judge us on that one. It can be self-medicating, which is similar. Sometimes it's nostalgia. If you think of, like, what was everyone's favourite tea when they were growing up?
Spaghetti bolognese.
Spaghetti bolognese.
I won't touch it now.
You won't touch it?
Nope.
It's funny you say that.
I make some and I'm like, no, thank you.
I make my little girl a chorizo quesadilla because I have it every day. She's been having it every day, and I'm like, you're going to grow up hating chorizo. I can feel it. Anyone else? Favourite tea growing up?
I used to love, well, I still do actually, chicken noodle soup.
Chicken noodle soup. Men. Anyone else?
Probably Sunday dinner for me. Like.
Sunday dinner.
Hunter's chicken.
Hunter's chicken.
Hunter's chicken, yeah.
Some left field choices here. I didn't expect these ones. So, growing up for me, turkey dinosaurs. Loved them. Loved them. Turkey Twizzlers. Yeah, then they brought them back and it wasn't the same recipe anymore. Although I'm kind of glad, because chicken carcass and bones, it probably wasn't going to be that nice. But, you know, you look at that nostalgia. Sometimes people like to, well, it depends on the case really, because you won't touch spaghetti bolognese now. Other people will look at it and think maybe Hunter's chicken, like, oh, I fucking love it. I can't wait to have that like on a weekly or whatever it is basis. So we all have these perceptions with food. Sometimes it's cultural, sometimes it's food scarcity. Maybe we didn't have much food. Maybe we were naughty and we went to bed without supper, or whatever it may be, without a snack. And we've still got like that mindset, but we never want to equate guilt to our food. And as I mentioned at the beginning, people might think, oh, well, it's kind of the flip side of this now, but people might think, oh, well, I had a pizza, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to burn it off. Like, you don't want to think of it like that. If you are going to think of it like that, think of it on more of a positive note, which again sounds kind of woo-woo, but think of it on a more positive note where I had a pizza, not ideal, but I'm going to go and I'm going to set some PBs. I'm going to use that as extra energy because that's what I've got. Now, can I take these things out? Yeah. So, we've got the Grenade protein shake here, which is white chocolate, and I've got this vanilla one, right? So I'm going to kind of link these together before I go into this. So we've got Grenade, which is a nice, like, funky sort of logo, and then we've got Huel, right? Which it looks fairly bland. Now, if you're not thinking on a nutrition basis, like we could, like, I'm not even going to say it. If we're not thinking on a nutrition basis, we're just going in, we want to grab something. Which one do you think you're more likely to go towards? Hey? You'd read the contents. What if you didn't read the contents and you were only looking at the label?
You'd go for the Grenade one though, because it looks cool. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's the one you'd go for. So, I'm glad you said that, you know. I'm really glad you said that. It's going to prove the point in a second. So, we see this thing here. They got a group of participants a few years ago. I know it's like black and white. They gave them like this old-timey label. And it's the Sensi Shake. It's got 140 calories. This was the label for it. It was wrapped around that. It was in one of them like tin ones, like, you know, you're saying the Slim Fast ones, like Nutri things, and 140 calories. It looks fairly bland though, right? Compared to this absolute bad boy, the Indulgence one. Look at that. I imagine it didn't look like that in the can. It probably didn't. But, you know, even in terms of calories, it's like double the calories, 270, but it looks like it's probably gonna satiate you. Maybe gonna stop feeling a little bit hungry after that one, right? So
The guys, they looked at it. On here, we've got perception of healthiness. We've got the Sensi shake, like so many people thought that the Sensi shake was going to be healthier. I don't know who these people are who thought that the indulgent shake was going to be healthy. I have no idea what was going on in their heads. However, they then looked at it for an hour. And essentially what this is on the side here, this is ghrelin. So it's like a hunger hormone for us. And their hunger went up, right? That when they had the indulgent shake, they were staring at it thinking, God, I'm absolutely starving here, I'm absolutely starving. And then they drank it on the hour. And they can see that they were less full, all right? They were satiated. They weren't anywhere near as hungry anymore. Whereas those who had the Sensi shake, they looked at it, they didn't really get any hungrier. To be fair, they were thinking, I don't want to eat that, I don't want to drink that. And then they drank it, and then they're still the same hunger, right? So then we can equate that to where have I put them? The grenade. That's the indulgent one. That's the Sensi shake. This is going to prove my point in a second. Now, once they drank it, they were like, oh, well, we can see our perception of food. We can see that like we were hungrier, we weren't hungry. It was the same shake. It was the exact same shake, just with different labels. So you can see that your perception of food there starts to change how you feel, how hungry you get, even like your stress. So yes, these are going to be different calories and they're going to have different nutritional benefits. This is like a complete meal. It's got a lot of vitamins and minerals in there, but like if you drank that, you're probably still going to think, fucking hell, like that was shit. If you drink this, I'm gonna feel like I'm on a roller coaster or something. It's gonna feel so much better. And I would personally rather have that. But it's all context dependent. It's all perception dependent as well of what you feel like you should have with your nutrition. For example, like I had burgers call me boring. I had burgers, homemade burgers, every night for a year and a half. Because I could go home and I'd really, really look forward to it. I couldn't wait for my burger. It had barbecue sauce in it, I put a little bit of bacon in it, some crispy onions, and I made sure that it was within my calories. But because I was looking forward to my food, I was always so hungry, and then when I had it, I was so satiated. If you're having chicken, so say we've had that curry, right, your curry in your wrap, you're then having that, hours go by and you get home and you've got chicken, rice and broccoli, and you're sat there and you're thinking, fuck this, like why am I doing this to myself? Sometimes like food is boring, but if you can look forward to what you're having, it makes it so much easier. Like as I said, I have that quesadilla every single day because it's got mozzarella and cheddar in there, chorizo, I put a little bit of pastrami in there, spring onions, chilies, banging, and I look forward to it every single day. Whereas if being in the fitness industry, everyone was like, oh, you're going to go home and have your chicken or like your beef and your green beans, I'd be like, I'd rather have a McDonald's, if I'm honest. We're talking about eudaimonism versus hedonism. So hedonism is sort of like our reward-seeking behaviour. It's the stuff that we get a lot of pleasure from, but it's like short-term pleasure. So when we're talking about like takeaways, I've mentioned takeaways a lot, haven't I? But when we're talking about takeaways, it's that thing where like you get it, you look forward to it, you eat it, and you sit there and you're like, probably shouldn't have done that. Or because everything's at the touch of a button now. You've got Domino's, which is a few taps away from getting a pizza. You've got William Hill or Sky Bet or something where you can stick a bet on and get that dopamine hit, get that pleasure hit immediately, especially if the bet comes in, it's like buzzing. And then you put another one with like higher money potentially and you lose it and you're like, fucking hell, I shouldn't have done that. Like, especially in this day and age now, like everything's so easy to get. Whereas we've got eudaimonism, which is more like purpose driven, it's more identity driven as well. So these are sort of the choices that you can start to make, which then becomes that habit and becomes less hedonic, where we're constantly seeking that pleasure, because if you're going to get that and then you're not always necessarily happy with it, you're always going to chase that extra thing and that extra thing. So I thought I'd talk it as a hedonic treadmill. But then we've got like family food times as well. So when we are choosing like better habits, does anyone have the same food as their kids at the moment? Yeah, what sort of foods do you have?
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah?
But yeah, pasta, curries, chili, just normal sort of stuff, I guess.
Mint. No?
When like you're weaning them off, or like giving them like normal foods, if you have like spaghetti bolognese, just give them some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends really. 'Cause we usually give the twins like ready meals,
Cool.
like microwave meals.
Yeah, yeah,
Not all the time, but just some of the time for quick, easy meals for them.
yeah.
Because they usually have a big dinner at nursery, so they're not really that hungry.
That they do.
Yeah.
When the nursery tells you that they've eaten something, you get home, you buy that thing, and you're like, "Are you kidding? Why?"
Yeah.
They said soup to me. I went and bought some soup, but went and bought loads of soup. Brought it back. No soup straight away. It was killing me. The veggies, the pasta, the rice. Sometimes it can just help ingrain habits in them really early as well. I'm not one of them coaches who will say, because I've heard it before, my kids will never have a McDonald's, it's so unhealthy and blah blah. I'm like, I live in the real world. Like, she's getting nuggets and I'm getting a Big Mac. Like, we're gonna do what works for us and what's practical, not what society thinks I should have or what everyone thinks is optimal. But repetition for us and repetition for the kids as well. Like, sometimes food, it's going to be hard to figure things out sometimes. Like, it's not always the easiest option. As I say, like, people think, right, I'm going to go on a diet, and then they'll have a salad, and then they'll have, I don't know, something like, I keep going to chicken, rice and broccoli, I don't know why. Chicken, rice and broccoli, and then they'll think, oh, it's boring, and they'll have like a doner kebab on a Saturday night or something, do you know what I mean? Whereas if we're instilling that repetition and figuring things out rather than just stopping and giving up on a weekend, because them 2 days on a weekend or them 3 days if you include Friday is still going to be a big deal to us in the grand scheme of things over that 7 days, and that's going to accumulate as the weeks and as the months go by. So with repetition, I mean, we had the, when they come out, they do the visits with the kids like every sort of like, year and then 3 months or whatever it may be. So they were saying like, Health visitor, yeah. That was easy to remember, wasn't it? Flipping heck. But they were saying like, kids need like at least 30 attempts of like a certain food or a certain thing. Even if it's speech, like 30 attempts to like try and give something a go. And if it doesn't work then, still keep trying to work it and keep trying to give it a go. And sometimes it's with us, like we'll give up so easy if we feel like something's not working. But if we have that little bit of resilience and a little bit of like, I'm gonna prove a point, I'm gonna make it work. Like, it can really, really help us. And then we can think, that was quite hard, but I did make it work in the end. Triangle of priorities as well. Like, if you're thinking like, what are you eating for? Sometimes it's performance, sometimes it's health, sometimes it's body composition. Like, if I have this imaginary triangle here, performance, health, body composition, trying to lose some weight here. If you think you're going to try figure out all three, you're probably going to do none. Do you know what I mean? The aim is to, I would say, focus on one thing in particular. If you wanted to pick two, great, but one of them's going to take more of a priority than the other. But if you were thinking, right, well, I'm going to go for a run and I'm going to eat healthy so that my insides are feeling great and I'm going to drop body fat, something's probably going to give. And it's either going to be that motivation or you're probably just going to get burnt out and then start feeling ill. And that's not good for anyone, because then who's going to look after the kids as well? It's still going to be you getting up in the middle of the night.
I've been obviously wanting to start going back into the gym and noticing there's not really much change. So I was just wondering, obviously I did my own little bit of research, obviously like proteins and like the right foods, but never really found it much help.
Yeah.
But obviously it's just understanding it from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's the consistency as well is a massive, massive thing in terms of that change. I mean, when someone works with me, I often say like the golden weeks of coaching are like between like week 6 and 8. And sometimes if someone doesn't see the change within the first like couple of weeks, it can be really demotivating. You're thinking, well, hang on, like I'm making an effort with my food, I'm making an effort with my training, and I'm not really seeing anything. But it's when you push. You might have seen it before where there's like, it's kind of like a meme on Facebook where it's like a guy digging underground and he's got like an axe and he's like that close away from the diamond. That's kind of what it is. I find that so many people like stop just as they're about to start seeing what they need to see, which is going to keep them motivated. But I mean, if it can help afterwards, like we can obviously chat about it as well.
I learned that like I knew food was like diet was important as well as exercise, but I didn't realise it was like probably more important. Because me and my brother used to work in a factory together, and it was shifts, and every back shift would finish work, and we'd go to JD Gyms at Washington. Yeah. And then we'd go to the McDonald's right opposite it, without fail every time, and that was 5 days a week.
Yeah.
because we thought, well, we've worked out, we'll like reward ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're probably like we'll put on more weight if anything.
Yeah.
So we can go
It's like, mate, it's like a bat signal. I see it.
Yeah.
Like the M's calling me, especially when it's dark and it's glowing. And I'm like, what? It's leading me that way.
It doesn't help though that it's right opposite
And
and
then you come out with it.
It's a killer, man.
I stopped going and just built the muscle, like built the fat on,
Yeah,
and then now I'm going to be going back to the gym.
mint, fantastic. It's funny because a lot of people over the years, I've had people say, "Oh, I'm gonna stop training." Not saying you're saying this, but like I'm gonna stop training so that I can gain some weight and then I can turn the fat into muscle. Fat doesn't turn into muscle. They're two completely different things. But you'll definitely notice when you do start to accumulate that body fat, and it's not even just the fat that shows as well. Like sometimes like we'll get a bit of a belly or we'll get the love handles and that sort of thing. But a lot of the time it's like what goes on inside the body, because we've got a level of visceral fat. And the more body fat we start to accumulate and the more unhealthy habits we start to stack up as well, then that starts to build up on our insides. And you imagine this visceral fat as fat. Imagine it as like a level of cling film, right? And where I used to work, we used to have something that actually monitor it. And it would be from level 1 to level 20. And sometimes I'd see people come with level 20. Now you imagine 20 layers of cling film wrapped around your heart. And imagine how hard that's going to be for that heart to beat if you're not doing any sort of physical exercise which is going to benefit you or build any healthy habits. Like, as bad as it sounds, your days are numbered. So then you think, okay, well, you know, I don't want to be in that position where as bad as it sounds, my kids don't have a dad. So it's them choices you need to make which are going to benefit them, which when I go back, that hedonism versus eudemism, hedonism was that pleasure seeking, right? Eudemism is that purpose and that identity. Purpose, it's our kids. It's then doing stuff for them so that their dad's still here at 60, 70, 80 years old, rather than having a triple bypass surgery at 50. Do you know what I mean? It's them decisions which will make a big impact for us. Sick. There's a lot to think about with everything. I've tried to just give you like a bit of a snippet there rather than droning on too long. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I know we've got some decent stuff here. Like we've got the cream egg protein bar, we've got the Oreo grenade bar as well. And then even though I'm saying fuel is boring, give it a try. You might like it and it might help you with your decisions there going forward. But
is it worth it as a meal replacement?
It depends. It depends like
obviously when you read it there, you say it's like 400 odd calories.
Yeah.
But then like, the numbers don't seem that great when you compare it to the grenade.
They're not, like numbers wise, they're not like in the it's all in the context of the day and of the week, and I'll say that about any sort of foods that we eat. There's no foods that are inherently good. There's no foods that are inherently bad. It's just the context in what everything else is, because I could have that Huel, which I'm like, well, I need to hit my protein goal, I need to hit my calorie target. If that only has 20 grams of protein, I need 150 for the day. I've got to find 130 grams through 3 more meals, which might make things actually a little bit more difficult for me. Same if I'm having them Percy pigs. Like if I've done really well or eaten really well throughout the rest of the day, then I might think, yeah, I have got space for them. But if I'm having a pack of Percy pigs and then that Huel and then some crisps and then a pizza, like that's the grand scheme of things. And then it's like, well, actually I'm just making shit decision after shit decision here. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, dependent on what the rest of your day looks like. But again, if I'm talking about what's practical rather than what's optimal, if that's the only thing that you're going to get, it's fantastic. But if you know that you're available to better options, what can we think of as those better options and then places that are available to us? We talked about McDonald's before. People would be like, why would I go to McDonald's and get a salad or whatever it may be? But you know, they do the wraps. You can go and you can get the grilled chicken wrap, which is sweet chili, barbecue and bacon, whatever. You can then even get the wrap and then you can get another one without the wrap and they just put it in a box. It's pretty much all that, but it's like the chicken and bacon barbecue salad sort of thing. So you've got one wrap and then one that's in a box. So then you're having like less carbs. It depends again on the goal and what the rest of your day looks like. It's a very long-winded way of saying it depends.
Yeah.
Really, if I'm going to Lidl, like JD, where I work is across the road from Lidl, and is anyone seen like them protein puddings and stuff that you can get in there now? Like, they are absolutely banging. They're like crack. But no, I've never tried crack, I don't know. But like, they're about 90p, they're about £1, whatever they may be, and they are banging. But like, if I'm having like 10 of them a day, I'm like, bro, like, where's the rest of the food coming from? Like, where's the nutrition? Because you're just focusing on protein here. Like, what's the real context? What are we trying to do? Because I'm hitting my protein goal and I might be building a little bit of muscle, but I'm probably feeling a little bit shit as well, because there's no fibre, there's no nutrients, no vitamins, no minerals in that. Whereas when you're eating more whole foods, like your beef mince, like your chicken, I'm not saying have your chicken, rice and broccoli, but you can make some really good meal options that don't have to look or sound as healthy as what like bodybuilders and stuff eat. Like, so what works for us might not work for someone else, or what works for someone else might not work for us. It's about what we're trying to figure that out. Are we allowed to try some of these? Yeah. Guys, like, it's not mine to invite you to, but I invite you to try some of them. You can tell me if it's minging, you can tell me if it's really nice. Thank you very much.
Just necking the fuel thing.
Hey?
Like savouring the taste.
Yeah. Well, with how much Gary Neville goes on about it, I hope it's nice. And there we go. You know what? I really enjoyed that. It's something I've not done, as I say, in about a year now. Something I'd love to do more of. It was nice to, especially with the guys not being like so fitness orientated, not being in that space, in that world. It's nice to sort of have their perspectives on things as well. And how, you know, meal times are with their families and that sort of thing, how they see food at the moment, how they see training. It was really an awesome experience. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully we can get something like this done again soon. I hope that you guys took something from this too. Let me know in the comments if you did take anything from it or what you found the most interesting. Give us a like, hit the subscribe button, the normal YouTube stuff, you know what to do. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.